Well, hi everyone. Welcome to Telling Tall Tales the Right Way. I am your host, Heather Asianbi. I am a lifelong lover of stories of all kinds. I'm also the editor of several adult nonfiction bestsellers. I have been telling stories for years. I am a journalist, an editor, and obviously the host of this show. So today okay, first of all, like when you really like a book, but it's hard for you to find somebody who also really likes the book and you really want to talk to somebody who also really likes the book? That's today. I'm so excited. Okay. I'm not going to talk about the book until we bring her on. So I am talking today with the amazing Cindy Rodriguez Constable. She probably loves books as much or more than I do, if that's possible. It probably is possible. And we read the same book. She read it before I did. So I read it, and then I was just waiting for the opportunity for us to be able to talk about it. So anyway, I'm going to bring Cindy on. She is an accomplished entrepreneur, SaaS developer, SaaS software as a service. Although she is sassy too. Anyway, okay. So I'm going to bring her on and we're going to talk about this amazing book. So please welcome her. Here she is. Okay. Hello, ma'am.
Yay! Thank you. Happy to be here. And yes, I do love books. Bookaholic. Self-described.
Yes. Okay, so full disclosure, I read the book on the Kindle app on my iPad, but you actually have the book. Can you hold it up for us, please? Can you hold up the book?
I can. So this would be, let's see. Can it see?
There it is. Your
physical book out. Let's get the title in.
All right, there's Babel. Babel.
Camera's like
Babel.
my background is messing with. There we go.
Yep, by R.F. Kuang.
There we go.
I also have the cover.
It's a thick one too.
She's a heavy book. She's a heavy book. So here's the cover in case you miss it. This is the cover of the version I read on Kindle. So
yeah, it was a meaty book. I think like 542 pages. So
okay, wow. I thought it was actually a little longer, but I mean,
and little tiny print.
Yeah, because so like when you're reading on the Kindle, it tells you like how many or whatever, and I was like, oh my god, like the number just never felt like it was getting smaller.
Yes, I'm a big Kindle user, so my new Kindle Paperwhite that I got a couple months ago, it'll tell you like 13 hours left to read or whatever, and I'm like, good lord, how long is this book?
I know, exactly. All right, so we are talking about Babel from R.F. Kuang. She is a Chinese American author who writes from a standpoint. It is very rooted in traditional Chinese culture, and thus the viewpoint that she offers from the characters. I want people to understand, if you read this book, it is definitely a non-Western point of view that is coming through. So I just want that out there. But the reason why I love this book so much is it hits all the elements of every great story. We have well-defined characters who go through a really great character arc, each one of them. We have a world that has been built so beautifully. And the reason why I like it is because she combines these fantasy elements, but but you can picture it because it takes place like, I don't know, 1819 or something like that. Am I right though? Isn't that
it was like 1828 or 1800s or something like that. Yeah. It was in the 1800s.
So because
I agree. For me, it was like a historical fiction fantasy.
Yes. But the fantastical elements are woven so well into the world we can picture because, we've been to museums, we've seen carriages, horse-drawn carriages, we've seen, the clothes that people wore back then. We've seen, artist drawings and things like that. And, and obviously Hollywood and television has done a pretty good job of depicting that era in general. So, we have that, that visual in our minds, but then the fantastical elements come in, but they're so, I don't know, it feels effortless that they're part of the story. Like once you get past the initial of it, you're like, okay. And then
it wasn't like all of a sudden magic got introduced. It was like, it was part of the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So I should say again, as I do in every show, like if you don't want spoilers, this is not the show for you. Not the show for you, because we're going to give it all away. We're going to give it all away. Okay. So not only was there a believable world and one that we could feel a part of, in some instances, the way that she was writing scenes, I felt like I was standing on the street sometimes, watching it all happen. And then there's also this overarching conflict that is resolved, but we all know, like, even as the book ends, that it's not really the end. Like, things will continue to happen in this world.
Yeah, she kind of ended it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly. Well, right. Yes, because of I can't remember her name now. Dang it. What is her name?
Victoria.
Yes, Victoria.
Because the epilogue was about Victoria.
Mm-hmm. Yep, or Victoire, as they were trying to do it. It was a little hard.
Yes,
Victoire. It was a little difficult for me to like keep the French accent because she's supposed to be Haitian and then goes to France. Anyway, okay, I am jumping forms ahead. What would you say? How would you describe the basic premise of the book? Did you hear me?
I think I would say that it's like, yes. I think I would say that it's like it's the battle of like loyalty, liberation, assimilation, resistance, and whether or not it's survival or justice is kind of like how I saw it. And of course the supernatural effects of the silver and all that was, woven in there. But for me, it was a battle between survival and justice at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
That's kind of how I saw it, I guess, in a nutshell. But there's many themes.
Yes, 100%. So a summary of the plot is that our primary character, he is a Cantonese boy who adopts the name Robin Swift when he is taken from Canton by an English professor back to England to become his ward and become a student at Oxford, specifically to go to Babel. Now, we all know the biblical story of Babel, the Tower of Babel, with the languages and all of that. In this story, Babel is an actual tower on the campus of Oxford University. The reason why Robin gets taken by Professor Lovell is because, and Professor Lovell, I can talk, I really can, finds Robin. His family has been decimated by cholera. Is that correct? Cholera? Is it right? Cholera. I think it's cholera. They were.
Yes. They were, family, they were dying and sick, and Robin was like hanging on to life.
Yeah, by a thread. So Professor Lovell comes in and rescues him and has him touch a bar of silver, which heals him, which proves to Professor Lovell that he can control, conduct, interact with the magic of silver, with the And it's not so much the silver that's magical, it's the words that they imprint on the silver. We come later to find out that Robin has been reading these really thick, complicated English books like Gulliver's Travels and all these other books since he was like 4. And he could never figure out, like, why do I have this English nanny, for instance? Why are all these books coming to my house? And then we learn that Professor Lovell has been providing for him his whole life. So when he is rescued, he's only about 10 years old. He's still a little boy in the way we think of him. And he goes to England to become Professor Lovell's ward and agree to like do these incredible rigorous studies of languages, ancient Greek, ancient, Sumerian and Mandarin,
Latin and Mandarin, and all these different languages.
Yes. Hence Babel, because the expectation is he will then attend Oxford University and help the English crown basically visit foreign lands and communicate with the locals and the natives of these lands and do whatever. Well, when Robin first arrives in London, it's not ever a London we've seen in any show or etching or anything, because it is literally gleaming, because everything is run with silver. The magic that gets viewed in silver. I don't know. It's
they call those they call them match pairs.
Pairs.
That's why they needed the people from foreign lands, because the English language doesn't power the silver on its own.
Right.
The match pairs are taking the land.
Yep.
And a foreign word, on each side of the bar, and then it like translates. The translated words produce the supernatural effect.
Yes,
is kind of how they make it the silver work. Yeah.
I was like trying to get, the thing is that the plot of this book cannot be easily summarized.
Yeah, no. I mean, at the end of the day, the British Empire basically relied on the linguistic and cultural erasure of colonized people to power their supremacy. Their silver working was powered by all these translators.
Yes, and I think probably by the second or third chapter, it became very apparent to me that Babel is a scathing rebuke of colonialism and the quote unquote civilization of Britain and Western Europe. But I also found it interesting because there are other characters. Okay, so Robin is our primary character. When he goes to Oxford, he is paired with a Muslim Indian friend named Rami Mirza, but they call him Rami.
Rami
for short. Then there's 4 students that kind of stick out from like the white boy contingent that attends Oxford traditionally.
Yep.
So there's Robin, Rami, Leticia or Letty. She is a white British student, but because she's a woman, she is considered other. And then there's Victoria DeGrave. Yeah, she is a Haitian French student. And so it's the 4 of them are the core characters. And then we have Professor Lovell, who is Robin's guardian. And then also I thought, and then there's Griffin, who was a student at Oxford. He is Cantonese also. But he has left Oxford and he's very shadowy and we know very little about him. But he ensnares Robin in his what's it called? How did you pronounce it when you were reading it?
I was pronouncing it Hermes, the Hermes Society.
Like designer, yeah.
Basically, he leads or is part of the revolution.
Yeah, so the Hermes Society wants to bring down Babel and the governmental machinery that keeps Britain conquering and colonizing lands.
All of these lands.
Yeah. But what I also thought was very interesting, and Letty does this to a certain extent, was the housekeeper. Right? Do you remember the housekeeper?
Yes, the housekeeper who, made all the meals and
Piper. Yeah.
really cared for Robin.
Did she though?
I mean, in the best way that I think she could, based on her charge.
Well, the way that I looked at Mrs. Piper is she seems at first to be a very minor character who is, just kind of there taking care of the Lovell household, making sure everybody eats and the house is clean, right? But really, she is a symbol of how white women uphold white supremacy by being complicit, right? So, and a perfect example comes when Robin is, I don't know, let's say 12 or 13. I forget what age he was when he did this, but Professor Lovell never gives him, he doesn't have any leisure time, right? It's always study, 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 study. And so one day he's like, you've been such a great student, I'm going to take you to this shop. And Robin buys a book, and it's a novel, and it's sitting on his shelf, and he knows technically he can't touch it till Saturday, right? But he's so drawn to the story that he takes the book off the shelf and he starts reading. Before he knows it, it's 3 hours later, and he has missed his afternoon lesson. And Professor Lovell beats him with a cane. He punches him in the face, and he beats him with a cane. Not hard enough, he says, to break anything, but definitely to make the point, you need to remember your place in this house. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Now, because Robin the story is not told in first person. It's definitely in a third person narrative.
Yeah.
But it is told primarily from Robin's point of view. And so, we can kind of, he goes to the table, his face is swollen, he's all bruised up. And Mrs. Piper just kind of pretends it's
nothing happened. Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with you. It's perfectly acceptable for a bruised and broken little boy to be at my table. And, it really serves as a reminder how oppressive systems continue to exist and operate with impunity because people, and in this case, white women with white supremacy, just continue to maintain them without question or protest, even though they also suffer under the system.
Yeah. And I think at that point in the story, identity and belonging are still not well fleshed out because Robin doesn't yet know his true identity and who Professor Lovell is to him.
Right.
But
go ahead and spill it.
Yeah. So Professor Lovell, Professor, that is a mouthful. Professor Lovell, I promise I can speak as well, is actually Robin's father.
Yeah.
So that's his biological father, which is why he's been, caring for him over where he lived in Canton, all those years, and why he was aware that the mother was dying and he went to rescue Robin, if you will. And so throughout the story, Robin is kind of clued in that there's something off or something wrong or something just, he can't put his finger on it. He eventually realizes. But, so in this story of white supremacy and knowing your place, Robin is a biracial immigrant caught between these two cultures because he is British descent because his father is an English person, right?
Yeah.
But
and they do mention that he could be white passing.
Right. But he, was raised in his other culture, right? So it's him trying to figure that out. And then, to make the story even murkier, Griffin, the sometimes character that we see who loops Robin in, who's like prevent the showing the resistance or leading the resistance or part of the resistance anyway, is Robin's half brother.
Yeah.
So Professor Lovell is also Griffin's father. So Griffin is older than Robin. And so
by I think 4 or 5 years maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, the question becomes is this a thing that Professor Lovell does? Goes around,
and we end up learning that it is a thing that he does.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is that he can, so Professor Lovell, it comes out, considers Griffin a failed experiment.
Yes.
He removed Griffin too early from Canton, so he didn't retain any of his Cantonese. Whereas Robin, even though it's not his primary language anymore, he can still, once he gets going, he has almost perfect recall of it.
Right.
Whereas Griffin lost it. And so, and then we come later to learn, even though, okay, I'm just going to give away a smidge of the ending. So Victoria, so Robin had a note on him from Griffin. And at the end, Victoria sees the note, and all it says is, there are more of us, and then there are names. Now, we know, because we know what's happened with Professor Lovell and Griffin and Robin, that what that means is that Professor Griffin has had more Chinese children. And that they must exist somewhere. But Victoria doesn't know that. She's just I don't know what I don't know what these names mean, but I'll have to figure it out, right? And that's kind of how that was the fade to black. Now, build up to that, and we'll get to it. But I also wanted to make sure that we mentioned that excuse me, Letty, even though she tries really hard to be part of the four, but the truth of the matter is, as a white girl, even though as a woman in the early to mid 1800s, she would still be considered other because women weren't really educated in university. She is still she's very blind to her privilege, even
very much so,
to where it's really different. Victoria both loves her because they're roommates and also despises her at the same time, whereas Robin and Rami don't have that dynamic. They're very similarly situated, with the exception, of course, that Robin can pass as white and Rami absolutely cannot.
You're right, he cannot. Robin can move a little smoother in spaces.
Yes.
In spaces where Letty is welcomed and she fits and she operates.
Yes.
And, which is why, she turns on them and all the things that happen, as a result.
So what we find out is that Babel is an actual tower that has been, and it looks, just like a regular tower on the outside, but when the students walk in, they realize that the silver that has been used to construct the tower, with the matched pairs, it's much bigger on the inside than it would appear on the outside. I kind of thought about Harry Potter and Hermione's tent.
Yes. Where
outside, it looks just like a canvas tent that sleeps maybe 2 people, but you walk in and it's a whole setup.
It's a whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of reminded me of that, but with much more serious vibes.
Yeah.
But that's where they do almost all of their education is in Babel. And they learn, how the silver works, how they can make the silver work. And Robin, this is Robin's struggle, and like you mentioned, with identity and justice and belonging and all of that. This is when we start to really, and it's partly because of Griffin, right? Because he comes in and he's asking Robin to steal things from Babel for him.
Yeah.
Books, I think, silver for sure. And other things too. But this is where we really start Robin really starts to struggle with he has an internal battle, like, oh, I see the imperial machine that is the British Empire, and it's horrible. But at the same time, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. This is amazing.
Right. He's like torn between loyalty to Babel and then like the growing awareness of this imperial violence that Babel actually makes possible. And so you see the constant struggle from him, like, I can't join the resistance because, one, where does that leave me? Right? I'll be cast out. And he remembers being poor and all the things he suffered as a young child.
Right.
And now he has a lot of privilege that Babel has afforded him. But it's conditional privilege, right? Based on him performing what they need him to perform.
We built this box for you. You have to live in the box, and you can't ever go out of the box.
Right. You will do what the colonizer needs for you to do. And then it's the whole like language and power thing, right? Because the silver working system that they're using, for me, it was a physical manifestation of the ways that language can shape, suppress, or liberate entire cultures, right? And so for me, like for me, it was like my personal parallel was I'm Puerto Rican, right? And so our indigenous people are Taino Indian, and our language was destroyed when the colonizers came. They didn't want us speaking our language; they wanted us to speak their language. And so, which is one reason that Puerto Rican Spanish stands apart from Spain, Castilian Spanish from Spain, from the colonizer, because it was a compilation of, Taino, Spanish, Arabic, and African languages to survive the colonization.
Yeah, and one of the first ways that you destroy a culture is by taking away its language.
Their language.